I was abused as a teenager by one priest who later invited other priests. And eventually it ended up being 7 priests who abused me.
When the allegations went public, many did not believe her story. One bishop stated publicly that she had a bad reputation. True to form, tabloids called it Snow White and the 7 Priests. As a reporter for Channel 34, the Univision station in Los Angeles, your story was one of my first stories. And you had the courage back then to say things that many people take decades to say. Now, how did it go from being abused by one priest to being abused by 7 priests?
It was first just Father Tamayo. He got me used to the touching little by little. First touched me over my clothes, down underneath my clothes. Later on, he started doing other things with his hands. He took me to a house where he had taken me before, and I thought it was going to be more of the same thing. He brought another priest with him. And while the other priest was in the living room, Father Tamayo took me into the bedroom. He pulled out a condom, and he basically raped me. And then he just left me there on the bed, and he said, "Wait for Father Cruz's." And I quickly just, put my clothes back up and tried to make myself look like nothing had happened. I didn't want Father Cruz's to know what had happened. And when Father Cruz's came in, he just started undressing me. He goes, "How come you're not undressed? You've been doing this with Father Tamayo. How come you're not doing it with me?" And eventually he did it. And then after that, I wasn't a virgin anymore, so I didn't care anymore. And it was like, I am like totally trash. I'm totally useless. I went into the bathroom and I just wanted to flush myself down the toilet because I thought that's where I belonged.
So then after those 2 priests, another 5 came?
Yes. There were,
in different occasions?
Different occasions. There was one time that there were like 4 priests at the same time.
4 priests at the same time?
Yes. They got 2 hotel rooms, one of those like our hotels, and then they were in one room, and then they would come in one by one, and it didn't stop until I became pregnant by one of them.
Rita eventually traveled to the Philippines and gave birth to her daughter. How was that arranged?
Father Tamayo said, if anybody finds out that you're pregnant, they're going to know it's one of us because you're just in the church. You don't go out with anybody. So to protect the church, we have to hide you. You have to leave. To protect the church.
That's what he said.
Yes.
Not to protect you, to protect the church.
To protect the church. And I was so Catholic that I said, yes, we have to protect the church. And that was my main thing, is to protect the church and even to protect the priest. For some reason, I thought that it had been my fault.
What do you mean? Why your fault?
I always had this feeling that I wasn't good, that I wasn't good enough for God. I had been abused at the age of 3 by a neighbor. And since then, I knew there was something broken in me, something weird.
While pregnant in the Philippines, Rita wrote a letter to Father Tugate, the man she believed was the father. It was not until 2003 that a DNA test confirmed he was. Rita wrote about how frightened she was, how she needed money for the delivery, pleading the priests to take responsibility for their actions. Around the same time, Father Tamayo and the other priests fled to the Philippines to escape criminal charges and civil litigation. According to internal document, the Archdiocese of Los Angeles was aware of the allegations and advised Father Tamayo to stay in the Philippines, paying him a salary to do so. Do you know if some of those priests are still in this area?
No, they all disappeared.
You never had the intention to confront them, to talk to them?
I talked to Father Tamayo after everything had been done, and he apologized.
Is he still alive?
No, he's dead.
All of them are dead?
I don't know if they're still priests.
Would you have any interest in knowing if they're alive or not?
I would, because I wouldn't want them to be priests. I wouldn't want them to keep doing what they're doing. To me, them being in a church, it's like the church giving them permission to keep on abusing.
He would type me all kinds of crazy things I didn't even understand.
See you tonight?
Yeah.
He's talking about the death of Jesus in the same love letter?
Yes. Here he is at my parents' wedding. He officiated at my parents' Catholic wedding.
So this is him?
Yeah.
Esther Miller vividly remembers how her relationship with Deacon Michael Nocita began back in 1980 when she was a teenager. I love you once, I love you twice, 3 times 4.
He would tell me things like, you know, you're so special that God has allowed me to be ordained so that I could teach you what pure love is. I mean, he made me feel like I was really something special because God had picked me through him.
You've said that you were groomed for abuse.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I grew up in a domestically violent home, and I grew up in the Latina culture. And so secrecy is the thing that's on the top of the order. You do not tell your dirt to anybody. And so I learned this process of just staying silent.
Esther spent nearly 3 decades suffering in silence. But since going public, she's joined the Survivors Network of those abused by priests to help other victims in their recovery.
It's my moral obligation to keep telling the story so that it increases awareness, because we know this crime against human souls is still happening. I'm committed to this cause, like till I die. If I can, till I die.
That's really strong.
I thought I was alone, and there are other souls out there that are alone.
She recalls the night Deacon Nosira made his first move after her parents invited him to stay over.
I had broken up with a boyfriend who was at the Air Force Academy, and I was in tears. My mother in the kitchen cooking. I run in and tell her what happened. My boyfriend broke up from me. He's at the Air Force Academy. I'm there sobbing. And he says, Deacon Mike will deal with it. And he sends Deacon Mike into my parents' master bedroom. And that's the first time that there was a physical touch, where he started kissing my tears, licking my neck, kissing my fingers. I was in a swirl of like pain and agony from this teenage heartbreak, and he's like glomming onto me. I was so confused. I was like, I didn't know what was happening, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, am I imagining this? Why is he touching me like this? Why is he caressing me and holding me, and his hands are going down onto my breast? It progressed. My parents so much so trusted him that they would open the car door, toss my little suitcase to go spend the weekend to learn about the church with him.
And then
Right?
when that happened,
Yeah, and then there was
no limit.
No, I was his completely. There were many years I could not go to Disneyland because a lot of my abuse was at Laguna Beach art galleries. It was in parking lots, at golf courses, Disneyland hotels.
this year, the Archdiocese of Los Angeles released clergy files that show church officials became aware of Esther's encounters with Deacon Michael Nosira, who worked in local Catholic high schools. He had become intimate with her while she was underage, and there were reports of incidents with other young girls. Former Archbishop Roger Mahoney's notes and initials appear on the files. Earlier this year, current Archbishop Jose Gomez publicly denounced Mahoney's mishandling of clergy sex abuse and relieved his predecessor of all public duties. Do you still consider yourself a victim?
The victimhood is something I've worked through. I am now a thriver. I've moved from victimhood to survivor to thriver. And it took years. I was silent 27 years.
Would you describe it as a true relationship?
I don't think that's considered a relationship. I wasn't a willing participant. I would tell him, you know, Deacon Mike, I don't think God wants us to do this. And then he would grab me and shake me. You know, the physical started happening.
How did you end it?
Well, you know, they transferred him, which is the MO. They transferred
All
him
the
to
time
another.
they transfer.
All the
right?
time they transfer.
It seems that that's the modus operandi. Always transfer them and protect them. That's the feeling.
Correct.
If you had the chance to confront him, would you do it?
Absolutely.
Have you been looking for him?
No. Mm-mm.
Because
I think I would kill him. I think I would.
even now.
Even now, yeah.
The hatred is
the
so
soul
deep.
murder that he did to me is almost irreparable. I mean, he took so much of my life, of my youth, of my potential. I mean, it was horrific.
I was a altar boy at Our Lady of Guadalupe in Oxnard. At the time, Father Fidencio Silva, who's a missionary of the Holy Spirit, had come. He was a new priest, very energetic.
Were you impressed by him?
Oh, everybody was impressed.
Manny Vega said that at the time, becoming an altar boy seemed like the only escape from his dangerous environment. It was 1979, and he lived in Oxnard, California.
I grew up in a Latino neighborhood. surrounded by gangs. The church was the only thing that was pure and safe. My dad came here to the United States as a bracero. My mom worked in a packing house.
To be associated with the Catholic Church was a great thing for your family.
It was the norm. There was nothing else other than that. And so at that point, during that time that he came in, my parents were having marital difficulties. They were separating. They were going to Father Fidencio for counseling. My heart was just broken apart. I was a young boy. And that's where he found the weakness.
They are experts in finding.
These men take that inside information and they twist it around and they find vulnerability within the family and they exploit it.
So what happened with Father Fidencio?
He abused me in several different ways. Digital penetration, masturbation, oral copulation, fondling, taking nude pictures of me.
How old were you?
It happened to me from the age of 10 to about 15. So this progressed not only to me, but there was also other occasions where the abuse happened in group settings with other altar boys.
How did you break the relationship?
The relationship between Father Fidencio and I kind of dissipated when I think at the age of 16 I had mentioned to him that I wanted to join the Marine Corps. And he kind of looked at me and he laughed at me. He goes, "You'll never be a Marine, you're not a man."
To join the Marine Corps meant what?
Joining the Marine Corps was an escape from him. It was an escape from the violence that was ahead of me. Living where I lived, that I didn't think I was going to make it past the age of 21.
Because you thought you were going to die?
Yeah, by the age of 16, I had survived 3 drive-by shootings.
For the people who are watching right now, they're thinking, this is a Marine. This is a tough guy. How could something like that happen to Manny?
I've lived an extraordinary macho life.
Today, Manny is a retired police officer living in Oxnard, California. But during the late 1980s, he served this country as a Marine, a scout sniper, and in 1989 was awarded the nation's highest peacetime award for heroism. So you're the perfect image of a tough guy.
I could take a lot. I'm very resilient, but I think what's made me the toughest of all is going through this journey.
Is Father Fidencio alive?
He's still alive.
Where is he?
From what I understand, he's in Mexico.
You know how to do detective work.
Yes.
If you want to, I mean, you could have gone to Mexico and find him, right?
I could have done a lot of things to him. Yes, absolutely.
So you are looking for Father Fidencio?
I am. I want to give him the opportunity to sit with me, and we're going to talk it out like men. I want...
You still want to do that?
Oh, absolutely.
You want to confront him?
I want to do the Christian thing, the right thing.
It took Manny 2 decades to come forward with his story. As a police officer, he found solace in his work and was able to come to terms with his past.
Not only did I investigate domestic violence, but also sexual assaults. And on several occasions, I had the opportunity to conduct criminal investigations on pedophiles who had raped little boys. And in those interviews, I would ask the pedophile, "Why did you do it?" And I would get an answer. And in a way, I was getting an answer to what happened to me. Manny Vega, Esther Miller, and Rita Milla were all part of a class action lawsuit against the Archdiocese of Los Angeles.
How did the church react when you first told them, the priests, what you had suffered?
They were non-responsive. They told my parents this is an isolated event. It's never happened in church history.
How was the response with you, Rita?
They were full of lies from the beginning. When I went to them, they questioned me. It was like almost like a little inquisition.
Are you absolutely convinced that Cardinal Mahoney back then, he knew everything that was going on?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
In the Vatican knew about what was going on?
Absolutely. Things are stamped with the Vatican seal and stuff.
My documents had a letter from Rome.
In 2007, the Los Angeles Archdiocese and 508 alleged victims reached a settlement worth $660 million, ending all pending abuse litigation. By accepting the money, how do you feel about that?
Entitled. They should have given me millions more.
We have a new Pope, Pope Francis. Do you think he's going to change something? That we're going to finally see some priests who abuse people like you, children like you?
He hasn't said anything yet about it.
They don't give a damn.
No.
They don't give a damn. All they're concerned about...
Do you think some things have changed? I mean, that after
they've been forced to change. They haven't changed because they wanted to change. We forced them to change.
Do you think that the abuse within the Catholic Church is still as prevalent as when you were abused?
I just got a call Monday from a new survivor in Orange County.
You still Catholic?
No, I'm a practicing Jew.
Rita?
An atheist.
I'm an outstanding Catholic. No, I swear, I am. I am the closest thing to a saint there is walking the earth. She's a saint, she's a saint, I'm a saint. Why? Because we are going against the Goliath. The results might not happen until decades from now, but it's going to happen.